Hello, welcome to Connecting Territories channel. I'm Thais Rosa, and today we are with the lecturer Jen Suno, the specialist in mediator. And this week we have this amazing opportunity to learn from him in the Rotary Peace Fellowship about mediation. And thank you a lot for this interview. I want to ask you, why are you so passionate about the work that you are doing?
Well, thank you for having me, Thais, and it's an honor to be on your program. Uh, I I think that what I teach and Thais, you're one of the Rotary Fellows, Rotary Peace Fellows this year, and one of the things that makes me passionate about teaching mediation, and I think the things that we're learning in class, are peace skills. And is exactly because people like yourself who are actively engaged doing community work to try to build understanding that I really love to meet people like you and the other students in the class who are trying to do something good to change this world. So it's actually very reciprocal. I'm the teacher and I'm sharing the knowledge or the information that I have about mediation and conflict resolution, but I get such a inspiration from the young people and people around the world like yourself who are doing so much to try to help build understanding between cultures, between races, between people. And that stimulates me, makes me want to really do my best to share and give you skills and information so you can go out and work effectively to build understanding and peace in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. The pleasure was mine, and I'm learning a lot this week.
Good.
And I want to know also how we can build peace when we have different ethnic groups.
Are you talking specifically about the situation in Brazil or other situations as well?
I think in general, and also you can bring also your experiences because you also work around different ethnic groups in the U.S. and Vietnam.
Uh, yeah, and I don't think just because there are different ethnic groups that it has to be conflict. But often and it really, the conflict's not due to just the fact that somebody has dark skin or light skin. There's normally some economic conflict that arises because if you think about the people in the Middle East, Israelis and Palestinians, in some areas back for many years before the partition, they got along fine. They intermarried. There were many places in what we now call Israel or Palestine, where there was, people were just used to living with each other, and they were just very calm and like this. But since the divisions, and since Israel was carved out of Palestine, and then borders were created by external factors, all of a sudden there were mistrust was created and jealousy and it created problems. And so it's not. I think often there's other reasons where there might be cause for conflict between people, and then the skin color just becomes some way to recognize, the privilege of one group versus another. Of course, in Brazil, it's very clear, and in the U.S. is always also very clear that there's a history of slavery, and that has never really been fully addressed and resolved. And that is not just a skin color issue. That's an issue that has to do with justice and economics, and so that's skin color just becomes the identity that identifies, the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah. And when we're thinking about mediation, so how do you think we can mediation when we have different parties and they have different interests?
Well, whenever you call a mediator or mediate some issue, that means that there's already existing some kind of a conflict. And a mediator develops some skill. It's a skill in how to create a safe space so the parties can voluntarily communicate with each other and have dialogue with each other and voluntarily try to work out some differences between themselves. The mediator is not a judge. It's not an arbitrator. The mediator is it's like a tool to be used to help the communication between two sides. And the key things about mediation is that it's voluntary, so that people, when they come to a mediator to help resolve a problem, they're not forced to be there, and they're not forced to stay. But they're coming because they feel like, well, maybe there's a chance we can have some agreement, we can reach some agreement. And the mediator's role is to create this safe space and to help conduct the conversation so it doesn't become an argument, but so that it becomes more of a mutual problem-solving session.
Mm-hmm.
And a good mediator can do that. It can create that, build confidence between the parties, build a confidence with the parties that, you know, you have full control over how this problem will be solved. I am only here to help direct the conversation back and forth, offer some suggestions, but at the end, it's your decision. It's your consequence. You have to live with it, and you know, I'm going to be there as a helper. I'm more like a marriage counselor than a judge.
Mm-hmm. And how we can break stereotype about ethnic groups and create dialogue between them?
Well, I think the answer to that is really in the words you just said, dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Stereotypes sometimes are based on sort of group characteristics, but then a stereotype is when you just think that every single person in this group is going to act a certain way. Mm-hmm. And that's really disrespectful to the individual to think that, you know. I'm Korean American, and so you'll assume that I know how to use chopsticks, or that I eat rice, or that I like kimchi, or that maybe you watch too many Korean dramas, so you assume that, you know, I have a bad temper or something. But some of those things may be true, you know, and that's true of many Koreans, but not everything. Mm-hmm. So I prefer that you respect me as an individual and get to know me as Jan, not just as that Korean guy. And I think we can break through stereotypes if we are willing to reach out and communicate, to talk, to spend time with each other. If we're willing, main thing I think is to listen. If we're willing to ask questions and listen to what other people have there on their minds, mm-hmm. then we will find the things that are both different, but we'll find a lot of things in our hearts that are very, very similar. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for instance, I think all mothers all around the world carry in their hearts a desire for their children to be safe, to be educated, to be nourished. I mean, that's not a stereotype. That's more of a, you know, something that we all know that we've learned. Mm-hmm.